When I was 16, I came home from school to find the front door locked. Not in the usual way, either. The locks had been changed. I still remember the sound of my key scraping uselessly against the new deadbolt, and the hollow dread that crept into my chest like cold smoke. I knocked. Then I pounded. And when no one answered, I went around back. Our dog, Milo, barked at the window when he saw me, but nobody else appeared. I called my mom. Straight to voicemail. Called my dad. Nothing. Then I called my twin sister, Lana. She picked up. What? She said like I was a telemarketer. Hey. The door's locked. Are you guys home? A pause. Yeah. We're home. Another pause. Lana, can you open the door? No, she said flatly. You're not staying here anymore. I thought it was a joke at first. I laughed, nervously. What do you mean? I live there. Not anymore. Mom and Dad said you're out. I asked her if they were seriously kicking me out. No warning. No discussion. Just out. They said you're old enough to figure things out. Don't make this harder than it has to be, she replied. I remember feeling lightheaded, like the floor beneath me had disappeared. It had been a tense year in the house, sure. My parents had always favored Lana, ever since we were kids. I never got a real explanation why, but she could do no wrong in their eyes, while I was the burden. Lana was the golden girl. Honor roll, gymnastics, perfectly curated Instagram life. I was the quiet one. The awkward one. And after our older brother left for college, I guess I became the easy one to scapegoat. My crime? I'd gotten into an argument with my dad the night before over something stupid. He said I had no ambition, that I was coasting, that I was a mouth to feed. I told him I had plans, that I wanted to work in computers, but that wasn't good enough. He called me a loser. I said nothing. I guess that was enough to seal my fate. I stood outside for almost 2 hours with my backpack and nothing else. Lana never opened the door. The last time I tried knocking, I heard them laughing from the living room. No one came outside. No one even checked if I had a place to go. I ended up sleeping in the park that night, curled up under a slide at the playground I used to go to as a kid, the same one where my mom would bring us juice boxes in the summer. I didn't cry. Not at first. But when the sprinklers came on around 3 a.m. and soaked my only pair of jeans, I broke. I sat there in the dark, cold, and drenched, wondering what the hell I did wrong. Why they hated me so much. The next day, I skipped school. Not like I had clean clothes or lunch anyway. I walked until my legs burned. Called every friend I could think of. Only one picked up, Eli. My lab partner. We weren't close, but when I explained everything, he offered his dad's camper out back. Just for a few days, until I figured things out. I'll never forget what that camper smelled like, mildew and motor oil, but it was better than the streets. I stayed there for 2 months. I showered at the gym. Saved every cent I made doing part-time landscaping work for Eli's uncle. The hardest part wasn't the sleeping on a warped mattress or not knowing when I'd eat next. It was knowing that my own family had made this choice. That they saw me struggle and decided I wasn't worth helping. Lana posted selfies in her old bedroom while I ate cold soup from a can. My mom would comment hearts under her pictures. I eventually dropped out of school. Had no way to get to class, and frankly, I was humiliated. Nobody asked where I went. No teachers reached out. Not even the school counselor. The last time I saw Lana that year was on my 17th birthday. I saw her at a coffee shop with 2 of her friends. I was taking out the trash from the diner next door. She looked straight at me and smirked. Didn't even wave. And that's when I realized I was alone. Truly alone. So I made a choice that day. I'd never let myself be that vulnerable again. I'd get out. Not just survive, but win. I didn't know how yet. I had nothing. No family, no diploma, no real support. But I had a new goal, to build a life they couldn't touch. And it all started with a lie. Because a week later, I walked into a print shop and told them I needed business cards. Name, Ryan Carter. Title, Freelance Tech Repair Specialist. Phone, a burner flip phone I'd picked up for $10. Email, a Gmail account I created the night before. I didn't even own a computer. But I was about to hustle like my life depended on it. Because it did. I didn't know a damn thing about business cards, but I knew how to fake confidence. The guy behind the counter asked what kind of design I wanted. I told him minimalist, something clean, modern, like Apple meets Tesla. He raised an eyebrow, but he printed the cards. 250 of them for $11.99. I walked out holding my first identity. Ryan Carter, Freelance Tech Repair Specialist. Total bullshit. But I wasn't planning to scam people. I just needed to get in the door. I'd always been good with computers. Ever since I was 12, I'd take apart our old Dell tower just to clean the dust from the fans. I figured if I could fix the junk in our garage, I could fix a few laptops. So I hit every coffee shop in a 10-mile radius. I taped a card to the bulletin boards, left some under salt shakers, slid a few inside the free newspapers. Within a week, I got my first call. It was a cracked screen on a MacBook. I told the guy I'd pick it up and bring it back in 48 hours. Then I spent all night watching YouTube tutorials. I didn't sleep. I practiced on a broken Chromebook I'd found in a recycling bin. My hands were shaking when I opened the MacBook, but I did it. Took me 5 hours and 3 minor panic attacks, but I did it. Guy paid me $80. That was the first time I felt something like hope. From there, I built a real hustle. I fixed phones, tablets, consoles. I offered rush jobs. I bought broken devices off Craigslist, fixed them, flipped them. I got good. Real good. Eli's uncle let me pay rent in cash. Eventually, I got enough saved up to buy a used laptop off eBay. Then a cracked iPhone I repaired and sold for double. Then another. And another. By 18, I was living in a shared house with 4 other guys and running my tech repair service full-time. I'd enrolled in a free online high school completion program. Got my GED. Nobody celebrated. No proud family photo. No cake. But I had that piece of paper. And that was mine. By 19, I was paying taxes. I had a bank account. A P.O. box. A client list that included 2 law firms and a wedding photographer who basically gave me referrals weekly. I was still sleeping on a mattress on the floor, but it was my floor. And then, one day, it happened. I was walking out of a hardware store when I saw Lana. She was pushing a stroller, wearing athleisure like it was a runway. She was thinner than I remembered, tired looking, but still with that same smug smile when she locked eyes with me. "Oh my God," she said, like we were long-lost friends. "Ryan, look at you." I froze. Part of me wanted to run. The other part wanted to scream, but I just nodded. "Lana." She glanced at the worn hoodie I had on, then the paint-splattered jeans. "Still doing your little tech thing?" She said it like it was a phase, like I was still a screw-up kid trying to find himself. I smiled. "Yup. Business is good." I didn't tell her I'd just signed a lease for a 600-square-foot office space, or that I was paying cash. She acted like she wanted to catch up. Asked if I was dating, if I'd spoken to mom or dad, if I was still mad about all that stuff. All that stuff. Like kicking your brother out of the house at 16 was a bad haircut or a forgotten birthday. I told her I had work. She fake pouted. "You know, you should come by sometime. Mom would love to see you." "Yeah, sure." I didn't sleep well that night. Seeing her triggered everything. The park bench. The hunger. The cold. The silence. But it also reminded me what I was working toward. I wasn't just trying to survive anymore. I wanted security. I wanted a life so solid, so undeniable, that nobody could take it from me ever again. The office was step 1. Step 2 came from a Craigslist ad. 3-bed, 1-bath fixer-upper. Motivated seller. Cheap. It was more than I thought I could afford, but I'd saved aggressively. No car. No vacations. No bullshit. Just savings and work. I drove out to see the place with my buddy Cameron. He laughed when he saw it. "Dude, this house looks like it eats people." It did. The siding was falling off. The porch was rotted. But the bones? Solid. Foundation was good. Roof didn't leak. The seller just wanted out. Divorce, I think. She was tired, didn't want to deal with it. I offered 25% under asking. She said yes. I bought my first house at 21. Moved in a month later. Still smelled like raccoons in the attic, but it was mine. I spent every weekend fixing it. Learned how to lay tile on YouTube. Taught myself drywall, plumbing basics, how to use a nail gun without losing a finger. My office was 2 miles away. My clients were loyal. I was making more than I'd ever imagined. And then, they found out. Lana showed up unannounced. Not a knock. Just the sound of her car pulling into the driveway while I was scraping old paint off the porch. She stepped out like she owned the place, holding a Starbucks and wearing sunglasses even though it was overcast. "Oh my God," she said, doing that wide-eyed Barbie gasp again. "This is your house?" I didn't answer. She walked past me and onto the porch. "Wow, it's actually kind of cute. You always did like fixing things." That was the moment I realized she hadn't come to congratulate me. She came to evaluate. She took a long, sweeping look at the yard. "So, you live here alone?" I nodded. She smiled slowly. Huh. That's a lot of space for just you. I knew that smile. I'd seen it when we were kids, and she told Mom I broke the lamp. When she used my toothbrush to clean her boots and laughed. It was her "I'm about to get something I want" smile. And I was right. Because that weekend, they all came back. Lana, my mom, my dad, her husband, and her 2 kids. They came with boxes. They came with demands. They came expecting to move in. I should have known something was off when my phone buzzed at 7 a.m. on a Saturday. I was still half asleep, sipping instant coffee on my porch steps, watching squirrels wage war in my yard. The message was from an unknown number. Hey bro, we're on the way. Got some boxes and stuff. Hope you're up. No name. No context. Just that. I replied with a simple, "Who is this?" No answer. 30 minutes later, a silver SUV and a rental box truck pulled into my driveway like they were arriving at a hotel check-in. Out stepped Lana first, in wedge sandals and a sundress. Then her husband, Nate. He was wearing a tank top that didn't quite cover his gut and sunglasses with the tag still on them. 2 kids tumbled out of the SUV, one screaming, the other clutching a tablet with a cracked screen. My parents pulled up behind them in Dad's beat-up Honda. I stood there in my hoodie and paint-splattered joggers, toothbrush still in hand. Just blinked. Lana waved like we were meeting for brunch. We brought muffins. Nate hopped out of the truck and slapped the side. Yo, where you want the couch, man? That's when the realization fully clicked. They weren't visiting. They were moving in. I raised a hand like I was stopping traffic. What the hell is this? Lana pouted. Language, please. The kids are here. My mom stepped out of the Honda like she was arriving for Sunday service. Honey, don't make a scene. A scene. I repeated. You just showed up at my house with furniture. Dad grunted. Well, there's space, isn't there? You live here alone. It took everything in me not to laugh. Or scream. Or both. Lana handed me a homemade family calendar. I kid you not. It was printed in color, laminated, and had little emoji stickers on each week. This is a rough schedule, she said casually. We'll do most dinners. Nate needs the downstairs office for his consulting. The kids will take the larger bedroom, obviously. And you'll need to give us a key. They'd already decided who got which room. They'd already assigned me the garage. I didn't speak for a full 10 seconds. Just stared at this cast of delusional clowns standing on my property with my porch swing behind them and my name on the deed. Get out, I finally said. Lana blinked like I'd spoken in tongues. What? I didn't yell. I didn't curse. I just repeated it. Get out. You are not moving in. Mom crossed her arms. Don't be dramatic. We're family. Family who kicked me out at 16, I snapped. Now you want a key? Lana's tone shifted instantly. That sweet, high-pitched customer service voice dropped an octave. Ryan, be reasonable. You have so much space. I worked for that space, I said. I earned it while you were posting yoga selfies and lying to people about where I went. Nate, who up until now had been standing with a throw pillow under one arm like he was still deciding where to place it, finally chimed in. You're being selfish, man. Real selfish. Lana said you'd come around. Oh, so she'd planned this. They all had. It wasn't a surprise ambush, it was a coup. Mom stepped forward. We know it's been hard, but we're still your family. And family supports each other. You mean like you supported me when I was living in a tent in a drainage lot? I snapped. When you ghosted my calls? When Lana laughed in my face while I begged to come home? She flinched. Dad looked away. But Lana? She smiled. Ryan, she said slowly, we were kids. We made mistakes. No. You made choices. I paid for them. Lana's voice sharpened. Do you think you're better than us now? Just because you have some crappy little house. Crappy little house. That's what did it. I walked inside, locked the door behind me, and called the police. When the dispatcher asked if it was an emergency, I said no, but it was about to become one. I watched from the front window as they argued among themselves. Nate started loading boxes into the garage without permission. The kids were chasing each other through my landscaping, kicking over flower pots I just installed. By the time the squad car arrived, they were halfway through unrolling an area rug in the living room. I opened the door with a forced smile. Officer, hi. These people are attempting to break into my home. I'd like them removed. You'd be amazed how fast a delusional suburban family folds when a badge enters the chat. They tried to spin it. Lana claimed I'd invited them. Mom said we had a verbal agreement. Nate claimed he had screenshots, which he refused to show. Didn't matter. I had my deed. My utility bills. My ID with the matching address. They had muffins and lies. The officer gave them two choices: leave peacefully or leave with charges. Lana lost it. Tears. Screaming. The whole, "how could you do this to us?" meltdown. My mom called me cold. My dad said I was ungrateful. Nate flipped me off as he packed the truck. I stood on my porch the whole time. Didn't say a word. When they were finally gone, the silence felt like oxygen. But I knew better. This wasn't over. Because less than 48 hours later, I got an email from a real estate lawyer. Subject line: notice of intent to challenge property ownership. And guess who filed it? There are a few moments in your life where time slows down, not in the good, poetic way, but in the stomach plummeting, cold sweat kind of way. Reading that email was one of them. Dear Mr. Carter, this letter serves as a formal notice that my client, Ms. Lana Wells, intends to initiate a claim of equitable interest in the property located at address redacted, which is currently registered in your name. My client asserts that the property was originally acquired with the intention of shared familial occupancy and requests mediation prior to court proceedings. I didn't finish the rest. I was too busy pacing my office, trying to calm my heart rate while also Googling, what the hell is equitable interest and how do I kill it with fire? Turns out, it's a legal argument some people try to use when they feel entitled to part of a property they didn't pay for, based on the idea that it was promised to them, or that they contributed to it in some way. Spoiler alert, they hadn't. But that wasn't the point. This wasn't about facts. This was a move. Lana's move. If she couldn't guilt her way into my house, she'd try to scare me into it. And if you think I'm the kind of guy who folds under pressure, then you've forgotten I used to sleep under a plastic slide with squirrels nesting above me. So I lawyered up. I reached out to Maddie, an attorney I'd done some repair work for a few years back when her cat knocked over wine onto her MacBook. She owed me one, and this was the moment I cashed in. When I showed her the email, she snorted. They're grasping, she said, scrolling through it. This isn't even real legal language. He's a glorified threat letter guy. No lawsuit has been filed. Yet. That word kept me up for 2 nights. While Lana was sharpening knives behind the scenes, I started documenting everything. Every voicemail. Every text. Every interaction with them since the day this showed up. I even dug up an old thread from Lana's Facebook page where she bragged about me being off the family grid and living in the wild like Bear Grylls because he's too dramatic to follow rules. It was from years ago, but the internet doesn't forget. Maddie laughed when I showed her. This'll kill any argument that she contributed to the property, she said. You were basically excommunicated. Then came the next blow. My mom called. She didn't even try to ease into it. Ryan, just drop this. Give Lana what she wants. I blinked. You mean my house? It's not about the house, she said, voice soft and fake sad. It's about family. Your sister's in a hard place. You have no idea what she's dealing with. I leaned back in my chair, staring at the dent she'd left in my life years ago. You're right. I don't know. Because nobody told me anything while I was freezing in a parking lot eating gas station crackers. Don't be cruel. I laughed, dry, sharp. You're confusing cruel with consequences. She hung up. 3 days later, I received actual paperwork. They had filed a civil suit in small claims court, claiming emotional distress, financial damages, and a stunningly fictional oral agreement that I'd offered Lana co-ownership of the house. I showed the papers to Maddie. Cute, she said. They're aiming low so you'll settle and avoid court. I wasn't settling. Not this time. We countersued. Filed a harassment claim, a cease and desist for defamation, because they were telling people I'd stolen the house from my dying grandfather, who had never even owned it, and we included screenshots of Lana's "let's just show up" group text she'd accidentally sent to my cousin, who hated her, and forwarded them to me. Our court date was set. 2 weeks out. Lana, of course, took to social media. She didn't use my name directly, but she posted cryptic crap like, "Some people forget where they came from, until the law reminds them." Face-blowing kiss, #family first, #we deserve better. Her friends flooded the comments with trashy encouragement. I didn't respond. I let her cook. Meanwhile, Maddie and I worked in silence. She coached me on court posture, got statements from neighbors, collected photos of every receipt I'd spent fixing up the place, from the water heater to the freaking mailbox. Every dollar came from me. Every screw. Every can of paint. Every toilet replacement. There were 2. Don't ask. Then came the court day. I wore the only real suit I owned, a thrift store navy blue that I'd tailored just enough to not look tragic. I walked in alone. Maddie met me inside. Lana showed up with Nate, my mom, and a lawyer who looked like he moonlighted as a used car salesman. I won't drag out the whole hearing, but here are the highlights. Lana's lawyer opened with a tearful monologue about family betrayal. The judge asked him to stick to facts. Lana claimed she'd been instrumental in encouraging me to stay focused in life, and that the home was a shared dream. Maddie pulled out screenshots of her bragging online that I'd been cut off for good. I presented receipts, a binder full of them. We showed the deed, the mortgage, the utility bills, my lease agreement, everything with my name, only my name on it. We included the security cam footage of them unloading boxes onto my lawn and trying to take over the garage. The judge didn't even need recess. Claim dismissed, he said. No equitable interest. No agreement. And frankly, based on this evidence, I'd recommend the defendant consider a restraining order. Lana's jaw clenched so tight I thought her teeth might crack. Nate muttered something about suing me for slander. The judge looked at him and said, "That's not how any of this works." Outside the courtroom, Lana caught up to me. "Are you happy now?" she hissed. "You humiliated me." I stared her dead in the eye. "No, Lana, you did that yourself." Then I walked past her and never looked back. Or at least, I tried to. Because a week later, my house was broken into. And guess who the prime suspects were? It happened on a Thursday. I just wrapped up a late client repair, a fried motherboard on a gaming PC, and came home around 10:30 p.m. I pulled into the driveway and immediately noticed something was off. The porch light was out. I always leave it on. Then I saw it. The side gate was open. Not swung, not gently ajar, wide open, creaking in the wind like a horror movie setup. My gut turned cold. I killed the headlights and parked a few houses down, heart thudding. Quietly, I circled around through the neighbor's yard and approached the house from the back. My sliding door? Smashed. Glass everywhere. A brick lay on my kitchen floor like some sick punchline. I slipped my phone from my pocket and called the police, whispering everything to dispatch while staring at the shadows dancing across the hallway. I couldn't tell if someone was still inside. It took the cops 7 minutes to arrive. Felt like 7 years. By the time they cleared the house, the intruder or intruders were gone. But they'd left a message. Not a metaphorical one. An actual, handwritten note taped to my bedroom door. "You did this. You left us no choice." No signature. But it didn't need one. I knew Lana's handwriting like I knew the shape of a knife's edge. Curvy. Controlled. Passive-aggressive even in print. The damage wasn't massive. They hadn't trashed the place. But certain things were very deliberately messed with. My office chair was slashed open. My master bathroom mirror shattered. The TV? Still there. The router? Unplugged and stuffed in the trash. A framed photo of me and Eli, my old friend who let me stay in his camper, was face down, glass broken. It wasn't theft. It was a message. You don't win. We can still touch you. The cops asked if I suspected anyone. I gave them names. Lana. Nate. My parents. I handed over the courtroom documents, the security footage from the invasion, the restraining order process we had already started. But the worst part? They cut the wires to my security cameras. The footage stopped at 7:43 p.m. Black screen after that. Just enough time to get in, wreck a few symbols of my life, and get out. I felt violated. And not just by the break-in, but by the audacity. After everything, after court, after being proven liars, after being told no by a literal judge, they still couldn't handle that I had a life without them. And now they'd escalated. But so would I. I had insurance. Replaced the glass. Repaired the chair. I upgraded my entire security system to military-grade, floodlights, motion sensors, a backup cloud feed, even silent alerts to my phone. Then I called Maddie. We filed a full police report. And this time, we pressed charges. 2 weeks later, Lana was officially charged with trespassing and destruction of property. Nate was hit with conspiracy and aiding and abetting. It turns out his dumbass used his own Costco membership to rent the moving truck for the first attempt, and security footage from the truck lot showed him leaving with Lana the night of the break-in. I didn't stop there. I posted everything. Not out of spite, but because I wanted to finally own my story. The Reddit thread blew up. Then TikTok picked it up. YouTube creators were dramatizing it. Some used actors to reenact scenes. One comment said, "Bro got kicked out at 16 and came back a king. This is some Lion King redemption arc." Even people who had doubted me before, distant cousins, old classmates, reached out. Some apologized. Others just said, damn. The best part? Eli saw the story going viral and messaged me. Still got that camper keychain, dude. Proud of you. But it wasn't the internet's validation I needed. It was what happened after the trial. My dad called. Not to yell. Not to threaten. To cry. I let it go to voicemail, but I listened to the whole thing. He said Mom was falling apart. That Lana was angry at them now, blaming them for not doing enough. That they didn't know how to fix it. He ended with, I don't expect forgiveness, son. But we miss you. I sat there for an hour, staring at my phone. Not because I didn't know what to say, but because I did. I blocked the number. Maybe one day, I'll have the bandwidth to deal with that wreckage. But not now. Not after what they did. Not after they tried to steal my life because they couldn't build one of their own. Instead, I put the final lock on the new front gate I had installed. Steel frame. Reinforced core. Code protected. Not even a sledgehammer would get through without a war. And I hung a sign above it. No trespassing. No excuses. No family. Because sometimes, the only way to protect your peace is to burn the dam bridge and build a fortress out of the ashes. And that's exactly what I did.